Wishing you all a very happy Lori and auspicious Sankranti, India's huge community fest. So let's talk today relationships. We have with us Dr. Chandni Dugnath, who's the founder of Gateway of Healing, offering holistic solutions of various health and emotional issues, including relationships. So Chandni, welcome you here in this session with Opinions and You.
Thank you so much, Ekta.
And this is one thing that I have been deliberating on for the last 6 months, because I feel that we don't talk much about relationships, although if not handled correctly, they can be a source of great stress as well. And here we are talking about all kinds of relationships, not just partner relationships, be it family, be it work, be it friends. Okay, so very happy that you have joined us today to enlighten us with your expert views on the same.
Thank you.
So, first thing is, what is the essence of a relationship? What is that one thing that can make it click, or the core of a healthy relationship?
So, Ekta, I truly believe that the core of any healthy relationship is authenticity and communication. Often we keep thinking about what we desire from the other person. Now, that could be my partner, my child, a sibling, parent, or even my boss for that matter. But we expect, we don't ask. The best thing is to communicate. Often we miss out on that communication. We do not really spell out what is it that we are looking for. And then we get upset when our needs are not met with. And this one example from a couple who had come to me once. Relationship. So she said, I want to end this relationship with this guy because he does not love me. And I said, okay, and how do you say that? So she said, because he keeps yelling at me. He's always angry. He's shouting at me all the time. I'm sure he doesn't love me and I want to end this marriage. And then I spoke to the guy separately and I asked him, so is it that you don't love her any longer? And he said, no, I really love her. Can't she see that? And I said, okay, really? Aren't? And he says, well, yes, I yell at her because I love her. So you see how he's thinking, I yell at her because I love her. Not that I support that, but what I'm trying to bring out here is that often we do not ask for what is it that we'd like. If I tell my partner I'm looking for a romantic dinner and the partner does not give me that and I get upset, I've got to specify what a romantic dinner for me is. Maybe for my partner, it's getting into the pajamas and watching Netflix together.
Sure.
And maybe for me, it's the candlelight dinner. So authenticity and communication are truly the core of any relationship.
Absolutely. One thing that is there is we start taking relationships for granted. They require what I understand is they require a sustained effort to be put in, but there's a point in any relationship, be it, we just start, be it with a friend also, or anything like that, we just taking it for granted. So how does that impact basically?
Of course, it impacts all the time. And most of the rifts or the distance that comes in a relationship is primarily because of, just taking the other person for granted or not realizing the value of being in that relationship. Now, the good or the bad part here is that our brain is wired in such a way. And this is called the hedonic treadmill or the hedonic adaptation. Now, what this means is that anytime there's something that gives us a lot of pleasure, it just lasts for a few moments, few hours, or a few days, and then things come back to normal. Similarly, when someone has even a hard incident or a hard moment in life, it seems devastating in that moment, and that intensity of devastation seems huge, but after a while, they sort of get okay with it. So, like how we would like that one object that we feel, oh, if I get this, everything's going to be great. And then a few days later, we're just so normal about it. It's there. It's just like that. So with every relationship also what happens, we love our partner, of course, but after a while, that pleasure, that joy, the intimacy, the bond, the connection, the communion doesn't feel like something different. It's just there because it's now a part of our lives, and we start taking it for granted, not intentionally though, but we sort of forget the initial pleasure, the initial thrill, the initial joy, the satisfaction that relationship brought us. And hence, it's very important to practice gratitude or inculcate those small habits that can rekindle that spark in that relationship. It could be something as small as going on a coffee date, even when you know you can make that coffee at home. So that is one way we can survive the hedonic adaptation, because like I said, we are wired for it. It just happens to all of us.
Right. Okay. So now, social media is just everywhere, and I think everyone who's having mobile or internet connectivity is on social media. And the trend right now is that relationships are being followed through social media. So we are interacting a lot, but actually, is it really a healthy way? So what are the pros and cons of this one?
So, well, of course, there are pros and cons, really, like you put it across. And the fact that we can connect with people all over the world is huge. And we have our relatives. I know a lot of people who have their kids abroad or their siblings in different countries. So yes, when we look at that part of it, social media, the internet, the connectivity, technology is a big boon. However, when we just stick to those likes on Facebook and Instagram, or those forwards on WhatsApp, and forget to pick up the phone and make that call, whether it's for a birthday wish or an anniversary wish, or sometimes even just to say good morning, and I appreciate having you in my life. So something as small as that, when said over a video call or over a phone call, makes tons of difference, especially in the current scenario when people are away from each other. Even when in the same city, there's so much of social distancing and curfew. It's important to make the relationship work. You can't say that, oh, this relationship isn't working. We've got to work to make it work. And for that, we can't totally rely on the likes and thumbs ups on the social media, like I said, because that's just the superficial part of it. It's great. I know a lot of people who get a lot of validation from the number of followers and likes that they have.
Yes.
However, there's a life beyond that, which because our inner self requires that connection, and that connection can only come through connection, the bonding, the conversations. If you can meet someone and hug them and tell them that, that's brilliant. But keeping the pandemic and the protocol in mind, I highly recommend using the calls and video interactions for the same.
Yes, very rightly said. Now, also you said relationships are about give and take. But what happens in certain relationships? The reciprocating part gets missing. So what to do then?
So yes, just like everything, I would like to tweak the words here, because I truly believe in the power of words. So I would say, till we keep focusing on give and take in a relationship, we will mostly experience unfulfilled relationships. Okay. So how about shifting it to gifting and receiving? How about I gift people the essence of time, not just the gifts, but time and attention. And receive the same, be willing to receive the same. Now, often what happens is that people feel, if I keep giving,
yes,
there will be a moment when the other person will realize that I've done so much and will start giving me back. But now this in itself is a big glitch, because you see, if I keep giving, I'll reach the point of burnout till I have nothing more to offer. And then I'm going to get exasperated, irritated, frustrated, snap at people. So that's not going to help. On the contrary, I gift, because when I gift, I don't expect anything, but because I gift from the space of love and compassion, the other person gets the gratitude in that and wishes to gift back. And that's when I don't say, no, 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 it's okay. I'm happy to receive it as well. I know a lot of people who, when they're even being given compliments, they say, no, 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 there's nothing. I'm just the same. There's nothing. So, receiving in itself is also a big thing in relationships. We should be open to receive uh, things from people, compliments, joy, love, affection. And most importantly, if you feel you deserve it, you'd like it, you crave for it, and there's someone, the certain someone who's not giving it to you, go and ask. Just say, hey, how am I looking? You've got to compliment me. Give me just 3 compliments right now. Demand it. So, a lot of times, no two people are same. Everyone has a different way of expressing, a different behavior style. So it's always great to inculcate the essence of gifting and receiving in a relationship. And if there is one person who's just on the receiving end, then it's okay to communicate with them and let them know that we'd also like to receive.
Of course, yes. Now we are into changing times. One thing that is there, relationships also have changed a lot with the change family structure, the change society and everything. So is it advisable to adhere to certain basic values as far as relationships are concerned? Say, maybe going back to roots, what do you suggest as an expert?
So values definitely form the essence of not just the relationship, but also who we are. So the integrity, trust, all of that, they definitely the core values, no matter what the family structure is, because for any relationship to thrive, the core values will make a lot of difference. And while we are inculcating and upholding the values of honesty, integrity, communication, authenticity, at the same time, one important thing is to also have healthy boundaries, especially in the current scenario when a lot of people are working from home. And when I say healthy boundaries, I don't mean, I'm not talking about people who are just too possessive and trying to figure out who their partner is talking to all the time. No, all I mean is healthy boundaries in the sense of even the time we spend at home and at work, the time that we spend with others and with ourselves. So, there has to be a thin line where we value the self, so indulge in self-care activities, the bonding time with the family members, the time for friends, and the time for work. Because a lot of times when we are working from home, we forget when the work time starts and when it ends, and where is that thin line. So it's very important to keep the values in place and at the same time have those healthy boundaries to ensure that the entire relationship is smooth, and not just one, but every relationship around us.
Yes, of course. Yes, very, very well said, I would say. And since you focused on the work from home and all kinds of work we all are engaged in, so I would like to know from you whether work also impacts relationships or vice versa.
Oh, yes, all the time, because we're emotional beings. And if we have a tiff at home, that emotional baggage will definitely transcribe onto the work. And similarly, if there's too much of stress and pressure at work, we won't be able to smile and stay happy when at home. And even if we put that mask on, the people around us get to know it, because energy never lies. It's always there. So the one thing that people should always focus upon is emotional mastery and processing. We've come to a time where in the quest to be positive, sometimes we've forgotten our true emotions. We don't even identify what we are feeling. And we're just trying to suppress it all the time by saying, oh, it's all right, everything's okay, there's nothing wrong, it's all good, everything's okay, everything will be good. Everything will definitely be good. But if I'm not feeling okay, I've got to acknowledge that. I've got to own it. And only then can I change it. And it's okay to not feel okay at times.
Yes.
But what's not okay is to suppress it in the garb of positivity, or to express it, yell at others, because it's only going to impact relationships further. The other person doesn't understand what my baggage is. But if it's completely my responsibility to handle and process my emotions before I spend time with people around me. So whether it's work-related pressure or the family-related pressure, it impacts every aspect of life. And also, it's funny. Like when it's left like this for a long time, although we are talking about relationships, but when these emotions are left unprocessed for a long time, they start impacting the physical health as well. I know so many cases where they're unable to sleep, there's anxiety, there's a lot of digestion issues, gastrics, a whole lot of things happen to the body as well. So not just the relationships or work, but the physical body also takes a hit.
Of course. I think very true. It affects the entire being of us.
Absolutely, every aspect.
Every aspect. Work relationships, if we talk about the professional relationships, there is certainly a difference between a personal relationship and a professional relationship. But what I observe, this is my observation, that we are, the boundaries are somewhat going. We are applying the rules of a professional relationship to a personal relationship, and, vice versa. So what do you say on that?
So that's exactly what I was trying to get at, that, we're somehow forgetting the boundaries, the lines, that space. And not all the time, but yes, often that happens. And a great way to stay out of that is that when we are at work, we focus only at work and the relationships there. I'm not saying if there's an important call from home, you wouldn't take it. You would, of course. But then once you're home, it's a great practice to keep your phone away and be with your family. Give them that time instead of, again, scheduling everything. I know people are so big on scheduling these days. They even schedule the family time on their calendar.
Yes.
And that's when I feel it's become more of a to-do than an experience. So it's important we start enjoying, celebrating the moments. And it's not just about spending time with the kids. It's about really experiencing the joy. And even if that's for 10-15 minutes, let's not have that on the schedule. Yes, keep some time for it, but not bounded by the alarms.
Absolutely. So I think, Dr. Chandni, that was really enlightening. We talk very less about relationships in general, but yes, there are certain basic things that we always need to keep in mind, because as you said, relationships not just affect our emotional being, they can even lead to physical deterioration of our beings also. Now, what I take away from this talk is that the first thing is we need to communicate very clearly and all the time. And the second most important thing is gratitude and kind of, we need to be rather focusing on gifting and receiving than the usual give and take.
Give and take.
Yes. So I think we need to be mindful of our relationships as much as we are now becoming of all the other things. This is also one very important aspect of not just emotional health, overall health as well. So thank you so much, Dr. Chandni, for being here with us today for this session, for all your words. And I'm very happy that starting, this is the first session of this year, 2022, although right now, all of us are not in a very great spirit because of the pandemic around, but I'm sure it will be much better times for all of us ahead. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Ekta, for having me over. Thanks, Sitan.
Thank you.